Do you ever have the feeling that nothing is working out the way you want it? Anything that is working is only half working? Yeah. Welcome to the Langille Show. Hey, welcome to episode number 60 of the Langille Show. My name is Brian Langille, and I know exactly what you're thinking. Langille, this can't possibly be episode number 60, because if it was, it'd be you and Tim Gormley, and I don't see Gormley anywhere. And you're right, that was supposed to be episode number 60. But unfortunately, episode number 60 is going to have to be slightly delayed. Well, not episode number 60. That episode of the Langille Show is going to have to be slightly delayed because it's in here. No problem, Langille. All you need to do is take that episode off of here and put it up on here, and everyone will be happy. Well, I wish it was that simple. I really do. But much like Elvis, Jimmy Hoffa, and Tupac Shakur, my MacBook is dead, and no one can really tell me exactly how that happened. Yeah. So the story is this. I was at work today, and everything was going fine. And I turned on my MacBook Pro, or I tried to turn it on, and it stayed with a black screen. And I was like, that's weird, because I just turned it on. But no big deal, so I turn it on again. And it's sitting there, and if you have a MacBook or have any sort of Mac where it can go to sleep, you know, it stays off, and there's a little white light that kind of pulsates, you know, like... Well, that's all my MacBook did. In fact, it didn't even pulsate. The white light just came on. I was like... Okay, so after panicking just slightly, I'm like, wait a minute, I can fix this. This is cool. Google's my friend. So I looked on Google, and there were lots of articles about it. I'm like, great, if there's lots of articles, that must mean, you know, there must be lots of fixes. Yeah, not so much. So I looked at it, and it said, all you need to do is zap the PRAM. So I know if you're not a Mac user, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's cool. That's kind of the point of this episode. So I zapped the PRAM, turned it back on, nothing. Then I read a fix that said, oh, it's easy. All you need to do is take the battery out, unplug it, leave it off for like 20 minutes, then press the power button, hold that down for 5 seconds, then let go of the power button, put the battery back in, plug it back in, turn it on, and you're set. Okay, so I do that, and of course, nothing. So I read some more fixes that included, you know, take out the RAM and, you know, reseed the hard drive. And I'm like, you know, that's just a little bit more than I'm willing to do. So I packed up my MacBook and I took it to my local Mac shop and I said, can you guys fix this? And they were like, sure, let me see. So I handed it over. And, yeah, so I'm sitting there. In fact, if you were following me on Twitter, you heard about this part. I'm sitting there and I hear my Mac go, bong, which is the chime for turning it on. I'm like, yes, they fixed it. And so I'm waiting around, and it's kind of like being at the hospital. You're waiting for the doctor to come out, right? And you're like, any news? Any news? And then he comes out and he goes, yeah, it looks like it's a blown logic board. That doesn't sound good. And he's like, no, it's not. And your computer is 5 weeks out of warranty. Yeah, so give it to me straight. How much are we talking here? Well, it's not really that bad. I mean, a logic board can be replaced for, you know, as little as like $1,200. As little as $1,200. Yeah, you're looking for $1,200 plus, you know, labor and taxes. Unless it's the screen, because if the logic board goes, sometimes the screen goes too. And I said, well, how much are they? He goes, they're about $900. So we're talking $2,300 basically to get this up and running again. He said, yeah, that's unfortunately about it. Now you could have some luck. You could phone Apple and explain what's going on, because I mean your computer's, you know, a year old. You're only like 5 weeks out of warranty. You can explain it to them. Maybe they can help you. I said, does that often happen? He said, no. I said, what are my other options? He said, well, basically, your RAM looks okay, your hard drive looks okay. If you plug it into an external computer, you know, and boot it up as a target drive, you could use it as a portable hard drive. Why the fuck would I want to use a $2,200 computer as an external hard drive? And even better, why would I want to pay $2,400 to replace a $2,200 computer? Why? 22 to buy new, 24 to repair. I pick up what's left of my MacBook, and I phone Apple, and I'm like, hi, my name's Brian Langille, and I'm a Mac user, and I'm out of warranty by 5 weeks, but my MacBook Pro is dead. They're like, oh, well, what happened? So I said, well, I turned it on, the screen was black, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh, we're going to need to transfer you to a product specialist. I'm like, sure. So I'm on hold again, with hold music and everything else, and I get to a second person, and they're like, so what exactly happened? So I explain the whole story again. They're like, oh, you're going to need to talk to, and I forget even what the title of this one was, a product specialist again, or something like that. It was something similar. Anyway, so they transfer me through to this guy. And he goes, so Brian, I hear you're having problems with your MacBook. Yeah. So I explain it again, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a long story short. I realize I'm out of warranty. I realize that. I get that. What I need to know is what are my options here? Like, I've already been transferred twice. I've already been to a Mac, repair shop. What am I looking at? They're saying I'm looking at $2,400. He said, well, I'm looking at this, Brian, and, you're only 5 weeks out. If you would have had the extended warranty, we could have fixed this for you. It would have been free of charge. Things would have been fine. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's true, and I know you're just giving me the facts, but lie to me. Tell me something different. I don't need to know this right now. He goes, so what we're going to do is, Brian, is we're going to replace your logic board for you. And I was like, what? Yeah, we're going to replace the logic board for you, and, we'll get you fixed up. And I'm like, wow. I said, so let me get this straight, just so I understand. You're going to replace my logic board for free, and are you going to cover the labor that goes with it? Yes. Wow, what planet am I on? Because, an hour ago, this was going to cost me $2,400. He goes, $2,400? I said, yeah, because they said the screen may go, too. He goes, oh. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I just jinxed the whole thing. I said, so what happens if the screen's gone, too? He goes, oh, yeah, we'll cover that, too. What? He's like, yeah, we'll cover the logic board, we'll cover the screen, we'll cover the labor, we'll cover the whole 9 yards. You'll basically, get your MacBook back and working, everything will be fine. And I'm thinking, who are you, and will you have my kids? Better yet, can I have your kids? Because this is amazing. So I thank this guy repeatedly, and I hang up the phone. I'm sitting there, and he's giving me a code that I have to give my local Mac shop, to authorize it being repaired. So I'm looking at this number, I'm looking at my dead MacBook, and I'm like, you're gonna be okay. Daddy's still gonna have money, and you're gonna be okay. This is awesome. And I phoned them back, and I'm like, yeah, I was there a couple hours ago with the dead MacBook Pro. I was talking to Apple, and they gave me a code that I'm supposed to give you. They're like, oh yeah, we already have it. You just bring your MacBook in tomorrow, and we'll get the parts, and we'll fix it all up for you. Light is shining down on me. I suddenly believe in Jeebus. This is amazing. Now, after all that, you're probably thinking, Langille, if your MacBook is dead, and this video's on YouTube, how did that happen? And all I can really say is don't ask questions that you're not ready to have answered yet, kids. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you for watching episode number 60 of The Langille Show. You can check it out at thelangilleshow.com and youtube.com. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Langille. And feel free to join the Langille Show group on Facebook at facebook.com. Until next time, I hope you and your Mac are doing well. Mine's going to be okay eventually. And we'll see you once we get everything back and running again. Take care.